Okay, I've seen that comment about 3 or 4 times already, so I guess it's time to share the secrets of the DBV Dark and Lovely brisket. It's actually quite simple, and most of you are going to be upset at how simple this is, but it is a labor of love. The first and foremost, most important thing with this brisket is the meat. I got this cut from this guy, right here. Rockin' D Longhorns. Links in the bio. Check him out. See if you can get a brisket from him. If not, go to your local butcher. Get the good ones. Pay a little bit more. You're going to thank me for it later. The next thing you're going to need is your choice of spices. Now everybody has their choice of spices, and mine are different than everyone else's, but I pick Lane's Spellbound from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Love that stuff. And the other one, which comes all the way from Tuscaloosa, Alabama, is Dreamland barbecue sauce. If you can get a hold of the Dreamland without having to go to Tuscaloosa, let me know where you got it, because I can't seem to find it other than traveling all the way out there and having some good ribs while I'm there. Now, trimming your brisket is important as well. You're going to have to trim some of that fat off. Me, I trim less. I don't want to trim it all off. I keep a lot of it on there, but I at least take off the silver skin and a couple of the end pieces, because I take those and then I render them down into this, which is tallow or beef fat. I don't know what they call it, tallow. I just call it beef fat. You're going to cook that down, and you're going to need that for later in the process. Now, the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to give this thing a lovely rub. I do this the night before. I smother it with mustard, just regular yellow mustard. Then I put my 2 spices on there, and I let it sit like that in butcher paper overnight until the morning when I go do my smoke. Now, like I said, I use my Traeger, which is an easy bake smoker. Some people don't want to use that. But I also use pecan wood. I think that's a nice balanced flavor for what I'm about to do with this beautiful piece of meat. Now, the next thing that you're going to do in the morning is you're going to let it come up to room temperature before you put it on there while you're letting your smoker warm up. Now, because of the Traeger, I get to cheat a little bit. I've got this nice beautiful app that I get to use to know exactly when my smoker is going to be to the right temperature. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. This is where the labor of love comes in, because once you put that meat on there, you're going to put it fat side up. I know there's lots of debates about fat side up, fat side down, but I like to do it fat side up so I can trap all of that heat that's coming up and all of that smoke inside of the meat. After you've got your beef on the smoker and after it's roaring, which is at about 225 degrees, you're then going to have to spritz it after it's been there for about 3 hours. So after 3 hours, that's when we bring in our next celebrity, which is Guinness. Just a can of Guinness. And I put my Guinness in a nice little spray bottle, just like this. And that's where it stays. And every half hour, until it reaches its first temperature, which is 165 degrees internal, I'm going to spritz the outside of it to keep it nice and moist and to develop a nice, beautiful crust that will happen because of the Guinness and all the sugars that are in it. Once we reach 165 degrees, we're going to pull it off and we're going to wrap it. That's right. We're going to wrap it in butcher paper, and that's when we're going to add the beef tallow back in. 2 big scoops of this beef tallow on top of the brisket, and then we're going to put it back on the smoker, again at 225 degrees, until it reaches an internal temperature of 195. Now, this is the part that a lot of people get too excited about, and once it reaches 195, we're not done. We need to take it inside of its butcher paper, do not unwrap it, and put it straight into a cooler. And let it sit in the cooler for at least an hour. I'm going to let today sit for 2 hours, because the longer that you let it set, the more those juices are going to circulate through all of that beautiful meat, and then it's going to be just the most delicious and tender thing. But if you skip this, as soon as you cut into it, it's going to be dry. It's going to be horrible, and you're going to hate yourself for doing what you did. And it's just that easy. So, I hope this was helpful. I hope you guys try it, and if you do try it, please make a video of it. Let me see what it looks like at the end, because I'd love to see what your dark and lovely looks like after all of this beautiful work on it. Hope that helps. Have a good one.